Hey everybody, welcome back to the Centaur Fragrance channel. It's so good to have you here back today. And if you're new to my channel, you're very welcome here. So let's talk about fragrances, colognes, perfumes, all those great things. Today we're going to be talking about Lalique's Pour Homme. Now let's get into it. Let's talk about the scent itself, the composition. Then we'll talk about the projection longevity, then the complement factor, and lastly the price. So first off, if you don't know about Lalique, Lalique is a very kind of a nice house. Their fragrances are kind of entry-level niche priced a lot of times, but this is a real bargain, a real cheapie. You can get this one close to $20, probably $25 or so. But we got to talk about how this fragrance smells. The presentation is pretty good. It's nice glass, and of course you get that lion in the middle. So what do you get with this fragrance? First off, this fragrance really does smell like a classic men's fragrance. If you're familiar with Eau Sauvage, it's not as citrusy, but you could compare it to that one, and you could compare it to the original Egoist. Not the Platinum, just the original. So, so that kind of gives you an idea of what this fragrance kind of smells like. You can look up the notes on Fragrantica, but for me personally, the notes that definitely stick out are rosemary, lavender, and sandalwood. Now, there's a lot more going on in this fragrance. It kind of has a dry nature to it. It definitely has a little bit of a herbal nature to it, but never goes green. You're definitely getting a vintage feeling fragrance, but it's not animalic. It's not green. It's not particularly barbershop-ish, but it definitely is interesting and kind of I think a classic gentleman's fragrance overall. But this one definitely leans a little bit classy, definitely on the classy side, and it's clean. If I was to compare it to something, it can remind you of like the pages of a crisp, fancy book. Perhaps it could remind you of a library. This is a very creative fragrance, but let's get into the projection longevity now. This fragrance performs pretty well. It's a solid performer. It's not a beast. I get about 7 hours, maybe 8 hours if I'm lucky. So 7 hours is good for performance overall. But the thing is, even though the longevity isn't extremely long, the projection is solid. This fragrance projects very well. Not beast mode, but it's not extreme, but it definitely projects very well. In the first hour, it's projecting. People can smell it pretty far off. You can fill a room if you're not careful, and after that, it's beyond arm's length for the most part, and it doesn't die down quickly or anything like that. Now, complement factor wise, this is where this fragrance gets interesting because we talked about that it's kind of a fougere, but it's more like crisp and dry. It's very interesting. It's even niche like, for sure, and that's amazing. We'll get to the price in a second, but overall, I have gotten positive attention with this fragrance. People thought it was very creative, but yet likable. It really got people's attention because it's different. It's very different. Um, because it's just like smells like dry and it's invigorating. It's classy. It's kind of herbal. It's kind of comforting. Um, you're definitely going to smell like upper class and fancy, but I do feel like if you wore nice clothes that you could pull this off. If you were just acting cool, had that kind of vibe going on. So, but I do feel like, again, I do feel like this fragrance is going to seem definitely on the mature side for a lot of people. um I I think you'd have to be 25, maybe 30 plus to appreciate a fragrance like this. If you love Grey Vetiver by Tom Ford, those kinds of fragrances, that doesn't really depend on your age. But I definitely would recommend this one. I think you can check it out. Let's get to the price. Probably the most important aspect of this price, and I'm bringing y'all another cheapie today. Another very extremely good deal for the money, and this was a hidden gem. It's gotten mentioned on videos here and there in the past. When I was first getting into the fragcom, this was one of the hidden gems out there that sometimes people talked about. So I'm bringing it back. um, you can get this for about $25. close to 20 sometimes. And if you were to buy this full retail, it's about 100. Again, this is another thing that I don't know how FragranceNet and some of those stores do it. But if a fragrance commands around $100 and you can get it for close to 20, that's spectacular. And this fragrance, just Lalique usually does smell really good for the money. So you can smell like you're wearing a niche fragrance for $20. If you're a gentleman and you're 30 plus, or if you're, maybe 25 or so, and you like mature manly fragrances, definitely check this one out. I mean, this is one of those fragrances that if you believe in cheapies, if you believe in getting, the best bang for your buck, this is the kind of fragrance that can make you a believer, because you can smell like $1,000 man and like you're wearing a niche fragrance for close to 20 bucks. No, I'm not joking. There's no doubt about it. So check this one out if you're interested. Again, it's very creative. I talked about it comparing to some of those more popular fragrances. But as I close this video, if you're familiar with the Opus line by Amouage, this does have some similarities with a couple of them. Kind of that library-esque kind of vibe and smell. In my honest opinion, this is more mass appealing than much of the Opus line, even though the Opus line is very creative, probably has very distinctive, probably very hard to source and expensive ingredients. This fragrance smells better. It performs it performs better overall. It might not last as long as some of them, but it definitely performs better than them. So if you're a fan and you know about Amouage's Opus line, there's a ton of them. Like, I think there's maybe 10 or 7 or something. You got to get your nose on this one. I hope if that is a favor for you, if that helped you out, please let me know in the comments below. But anyways, thank y'all so much for stopping by today. I brought y'all today another fantastic cheapie, a distinctive fragrance, a classy fragrance for y'all who want to bang, on the budget. This is fantastic. I highly recommend this fragrance for a gentleman. I think that it can fit just about any guy's collection. Seasons, I do think that this is best for spring, like right now, and maybe for early fall. This fragrance just has a crisp nature, and even though it doesn't say particularly that it has vetiver in the breakdown, I do feel like this fragrance is going to tantalize and perhaps entertain, the fan of vetiver. It kind of has that feel. Anyways, thank y'all so much for sticking by and, watching my video today. If you stuck around to the very end, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're always updated when I release a video. I'm uploading very regularly, so come back, see what the new videos I have, and, don't forget to wear what you love. Thank y'all for supporting me in this channel. I hope to be able to, grow and become a successful YouTuber, and some of y'all have left me humbling comments, and I want to thank y'all so much for that. So thank y'all so much for being here today. This is, again, a fantastic fragrance for the money. I really guarantee that. And I'll see y'all next time. This has been the Cheapie Fragrance channel. I'll see ya. Bye.